Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and this is another StarCraft 2 England cast. Now today I've got another game from the HP Trophy 2 tournament. It is the qualifiers of it, so it's just the best of one game, and it is between the red Zerg player in the top left position, MiNiMaTh, and he's up against FXOStrelok, who is of course the blue Terran player in the lower right. The map is in Tomb Valley. It is forced cross spawns as far as I am aware, and well, this is a really cool map. I quite like it. I do think that it's got some interesting options. I mean, for a start, it's quite difficult to take your natural base because there is a lot of very wide ramp into it, and it's difficult to defend. So we may see some Hellion harassment coming in. That can be always quite awkward. And well, we'll just wait and see what exactly does go off. Obviously for Strelok, it means that it can be quite tough to come in here. Now, anyone who does watch my channel frequently may notice the nice little sc2cast.com logo down there. That's because they're awesome. Like, seriously, if you've got an iPhone or a tablet of any variety, then download the app because it's awesome. They put so many cool casts up on there, including mine. So it is a really sweet, swish way to watch some StarCraft on the go. Now, anyway, coming back to this match, let's think what we should see. Well, obviously, from the Zerg, we should see a 15 hatch into a 16 pool. That's a fairly standard opening. Now, obviously from Strelok, I reckon we're going to see a command center first. The reason for that is he's already up to over 150 minerals and he hasn't built a barracks. And that basically means he's going to go CC first, which really we're seeing a lot of Terran players go for that command center a lot earlier, either with a 1-Rax command center or just the command center first build. And the reason for that being is that Zerg players are consistently, and have been for a long time, going for this fast expansion, which means that they're not able to put on any pressure. So why on earth not? Now, the kind of knock-on effect from that is that as a Zerg player, you're stuck there thinking really, well, do I take my third really quickly, which on a map like Entomb can be difficult because of those rocks there, and also just another wide ramp, or do I try and put on some 2-base pressure? Neither of which are too great, but on Entomb Valley, I would personally think the 2-base pressure is possibly one of the best maps to go for that, just due to this wide area being very difficult to wall off. So maybe we'll see MiNiMaTh go for that. I'm sure though Strelok is going to be prepared for such an event. Now, he is getting down just the 1 gas and the 1 Rax at the moment. Another variation you can go for is you can get 2 barracks straight away off it, and that is really if you're more concerned of a lot of pressure coming in, or you think there's going to be quite an aggressive opening from your opponent. The gas is much more focused towards getting out that factory a bit sooner, and thus the reactor for reactor Hellions. Only 1 gas. If we saw a 2nd gas, or we do quite soon, maybe we'll see the Hellion Banshee play, which is very common nowadays in dealing a lot of damage. Now, meanwhile, if we look up here for MiNiMaTh, we are basically seeing that the extractor is being chucked down, just 1 gas. I expect that it will just be used to get the 100 gas for Zergling speed and then actually get stopped. Now, looking around, obviously we're seeing the scouting information go off here. We'll see that the hatchery is down, but no real need to panic or anything like that. We've got the 2nd gas now on its way for Strelok there, and that's really screaming to me that I think we'll probably see the Hellion Banshee play. That's really common. Most likely it will then transition into mech. It's something that I personally feel is a very strong playstyle for Terran against Zerg at the moment, that you go for reactor Hellions, you then get Banshee, and during that very big harassment period of time, you build up that mech army. And of course it's the early game where mech is really weak, so it's a great playstyle. The only problem with going for Banshee on this map is that really your angles of attack aren't great, because the main base is flanked by the natural on one side, and coming into the main from this angle, if you get behind the mineral line, you can get very easily trapped, especially by queens and things like that. So we'll wait and see whether that is going to go down. Now, we've got a 2nd factory already. That's really quite early, so I'm really interested to see what Strelok's going to do here. It could just be an awful lot of Hellions exceptionally quickly. It could be that the barracks moves over, gets a tech lab, and we see blue flame Hellions. That is the other big option. We've got an armory coming down already as well. This is just like a super ridiculously quick playstyle out of Strelok in terms of the tech. Up for MiNiMaTh, we do just have drones. We have lots of drones. We do have Zergling speed on the way, and still 3 drones in the gas. Now, that says I'm going for something more techy, so we may see a lair quite early on. I mean, the interesting thing is he's already up to 125 gas and isn't really spending it at the moment, so I can't wait to see how he tries to utilize that. Now, I have got the tech lab going down, so I'm almost certain we're going to see blue flame Hellions on their way across. We've got the first 2 Hellions already going across the map right now, and as you can see, there's 4 queens on the map, 2 specifically for spreading the creep, which will push back these Hellions initially. But once you start getting lots and very high numbers of blue flame Hellions, and there's the blue flame upgrade started, well, it can get quite difficult because the Zerglings just suicide past the Queens, which flat out don't have enough DPS. You get a lot of Zerglings, which again, flat out aren't able to deal with the Hellions effectively. So really, unless we see Roaches, there's problems. Now there's the third base for the Zerg player, as well as Lair coming down. The second and third, fourth gas on their way. So really just gassing, getting all the gas that he needs. We're going to probably see a transition into some kind of more high-tech units very, very quickly. Interestingly, the one thing that's missing from MiNiMaTh's build at the moment is those evolution chambers and the upgrades, because you tend to see those quite quickly nowadays. It's really standard of the play. Now, down here on Strelok's base, obviously you've got one barrack still just sitting there doing pretty much nothing. This is just a very big commitment to Blue Flame Hellions. Gas building up quite well, but here we go, we've got Hellions moving in here, and well, that is a bit of an early engagement, and it's being dealt with absolutely incredibly by MiNiMaTh, who is doing huge damage and cleans them all up. Now, in my opinion, that may not have been the best engagement going, because we've now got a big counter-attack of Zerglings on the way, and a vast majority of those Hellions were cleaned up, and actually, Hellions engaging Zerglings were half as cost-effective. That should never happen. MiNiMaTh is now in a great spot. He's getting up that double Evo and also the Spire. Meanwhile, the third command center on its way down for Strelok, but we've got the Zerglings coming in just to see if that is up yet. And really, there's no transition out of this at the moment for Strelok. He's getting up another factory, but he's still making just those Hellions. And after losing so many, he's going to have a real tough time getting in, because he needs the big numbers, really. And, of course, once those Mutalisks come out, those Hellions are not going to have fun at all. Blue Flame now revealed. All those Zerglings do get taken out incredibly quickly. We do have the third and fourth gas on the way for the Terran player as well now, but the fifth and sixth gas already on their way for the Zerg. Looking here, we've got the Baning Nest coming up, the 1-1 melee upgrades, and well, the Spire is two-thirds done really, coming up to 3/4. So how well can these Hellions do? Well, they're doing huge damage to the Zerglings. +1 for Terran vehicles is about to kick in. Now these Hellions are starting to do absolutely massive damage, but they need to start doing economic damage, and the Zerglings do manage to trap them momentarily, and this is absolutely crazy. But here we go, we've got the Hellions pushing their way in, and all the drones are pulled very quickly by MiNiMaTh. The Spire has been spotted though, and there's only 4 Hellions left in the base, so to be honest, the Zerg player is doing an incredible job of dealing with this, taking incredibly low losses. If we look here, while there has been more resources lost by the Zerg now, the important thing is workers killed. Only 5 workers killed in both of these pushes, and really with Blue Flame Hellions, you've got to deal huge amounts of damage very quickly. This third base is going to be a target now, but with only 5 drones there, it's not going to be a tough time, really like hugely damaging or anything like that. And of course the concern is, what if anything comes from the other side? Drones still getting pulled, but they will get taken out ever so slowly. The Queen may even get a kill though on one of the Hellions. They do manage to get out there for the moment. Now obviously the natural base is going to be targeted, but with Banelings there, that of course Banelings do bonus damage to Hellions due to the fact they're like units. The first Mutalisk on the way, well, the first Mutalisk actually on their way to the Hellions, and well, this now basically means the Hellions are useless because the Mutas can just clean them up so quickly. There is a Thor out, so those Mutas could have a little bit of problems. We do have the second army on its way, the +1 vehicle weapons. We do have still more Thors getting pumped out. This is a going to be a Thor Hellion army. Very few siege tents at the moment. These Hellions still trying to be harassing and doing as much damage as they can. But the Banelings could do so much damage, especially as they come in. But luckily Strelok is paying attention. 2 Hellions go down already though. Meanwhile, Mutalisks are focusing down quite a few of the SCVs. They are also attacking that orbital command, may force it back. Looking here though, the Hellions getting taken out just so effectively by the Zerg player. It is just absolutely brilliant. Now the Mutas are clumping up, but not too badly yet. Luckily there was a split second there where I thought it was going to go, but a couple of Mutas were taken down. And now we are seeing things start to go in terms of more units lost for the Zerg, which is really where it should be. Terran and Protoss should engage more cost effectively. We see the Rotoron come out. Now this is absolutely critical for the Zerg. If you see lots of Thors but no tanks, you get Roaches. Lots and lots of Roaches, because they engage very well against pure Thor. It's only really the tanks that can cause the problem. We've got that supply depot wall-off coming down there. We've got more factories being added on. Money being managed very well by Strelok, but not so well actually by MiNiMaTh, who is seeing that he's floating nearly 1,000 gas. So really needs to think about, is he getting too much gas? I mean, when you're up to that sort of level, the drone count at the mineral line is clearly a bit low. If we look at the work count itself, he's only up to 70 now, 13 minutes into the game, and he hasn't lost that many workers. He's only lost 11. I really would like to see him get up to that kind of 70, 80 mark a lot quicker. Anyway, we do have the infestation pick coming down now against Mass Thor. What I would get with those infestors isn't necessarily, well, obviously pathogen glands, but neural parasite really quite soon, because neural parasiting Thors is one of the best way Zerg have of dealing with them. It's very, very effective. Obviously, fungal growth great as well against the Hellions in order to trap them, to prevent them running away. And, well, to be honest, the Thors are only going to be the problem when there's lots of roaches out. The Hellions are going to be pretty much useless apart from the harassment capability. The 2-2 melee upgrades coming out now, that's quite interesting, especially considering how many roaches are coming out, how many mutas are coming out. There isn't really any sign yet of going up into Broodlord tech. The hive hasn't even been started, and we are 14 minutes 20. Just like Sailor, though, it is started. Now, obviously, Broodlords do benefit from the melee upgrades, but to be honest, I think against this army, Broodlords may not necessarily be the best choice. I mean, yes, they're okay, but Thors are still pretty strong. It's more against the tanks they become a big problem, and for the moment, 4 tanks are on their way out. These are the first, there's already 2, so tanks are starting to come out now, but is there enough? I'm not really sure yet. Again, MiNiMaTh needs to take good opportunity when he gets them. Now, looking at the work count, Strelok is ahead, so I'm definitely calling this game in Strelok's favour at the moment, but this push isn't going to be big enough. Yes, there's a couple of mutas and quite a few roaches, but there just isn't enough numbers to push into this. Obviously, siege mode is now done. We've got 6 tanks on the field. There's just nowhere near enough stuff. However, for the moment, Strelok isn't actually sieged up with those tanks, which is something that he does need to start thinking about doing. All the Zerglings get taken out incredibly quickly, and that was a big loss using those. They all went through a very, very nice choke point created by the Terran player there, and allowed the Blue Flame Hellions to do so much damage. Now, here we go. The Hellions scouting forward. They will pull back. Now, the tanks can really just start leapfrogging forward, defended, of course, by the Thors. The mutas could pick off the tanks, apart from the fact that they will take huge splash damage should they clump up. The solution to that is magic boxing, of course, for anyone who doesn't know. Now, just looking, obviously, the Great Aspire on its way out, the +3 Terran vehicle weapons on their way, a really, really similar supply. We've got the roaches coming in now, but the tanks sieging up. Absolutely amazing play right there, and we do see huge damage being done. The mutas completely annihilated by the Thors, and this is the problem, that once mech sort of gets above the 150 supply mark, it gets so strong. More Thors pumping out. This 4th base from the Zerg is definitely getting taken out. Meanwhile, the 4th command center has just finished up for Strelok, and, well, Spine Crawlers there going down. The 3rd base is now going to be the problem. If we look at the worker count, this is the big thing through the game, is the Zerg player's been really quite low on the workers. At this, usually before this point, you'd see Zerg, really, really good Zerg players go up to maybe even 80, 90, sometimes triple figures in terms of the worker count. But is this going to be a big counter-attack from the Zerg? It's possible. The problem with mech is it's very, very slow. But the 4th base being taken, a 5th command center being built, this should get transformed into a planetary fortress shortly. It's just really the APM requirements of managing his army and everything else. Now, we do see Strelok just going to go and check to see if there's a 5th base, and an attempt at a wraparound. Now, the tanks are on siege, so this could be a good opportunity to go in, but not committing to it. So the tanks siege up, and a little bit of damage was done. We don't have Neural Parasite on these infestors at all, so obviously that means it's only fungal growth, which won't be that great against this army. If there's lots of, well, Hellions, that'd be great, but obviously with no Hellions there, it's not going to be that effective. A lift has been forced to cancel on the 5th command center, and the 4th base denied for the moment with Strelok, but he shouldn't be too worried in my opinion, because he's on equal bases as his opponent. Broodlords are now coming out though. We've got Banshee as well as some Vikings, so the Viking tech switch, absolutely brilliant. Need to start seeing those pump out very, very quickly though. But with the Thors as well, you don't need as many Vikings as you may do in a more conventional tank marine medevac formation, because obviously the Thors do have the anti-air attack. The ground army is being predominantly made up of roaches at the moment from MiNiMaTh. He needs to start thinking about clearing those out and how he's going to manage his money. But still, Strelok is doing such a better job of resource management right now. Consistently through this game, he's been incredibly low on resources, spending everything he's got, whereas MiNiMaTh has just been a bit too high on everything in my opinion. Now, here we go. We do have a bit of a roach engagement here now. Obviously, if there are some good positions met, the tanks sieging up, I believe they're in cover, so they won't actually be seen by the Zerg player. This could be very, very good. The problem, though, are going to be those Broodlords, if they can get in a good spot. But with Vikings out there, some good damage should be able to be done. A fungal growth goes down, catches quite a few things, but not quite enough in my opinion at the moment. The tanks can now really just start leapfrogging forward. We've got 4th base being retaken by MiNiMaTh, but of course that's not going to be operational for quite a while. Those couple of Broodlords on their way over, they don't have any armor upgrades. We've got big engagement everywhere, fungal growth going on literally everything right now. The Vikings aren't in the best position, but the Thors alone are managing to do a good job of picking off those Broodlords, and with the Vikings' help, they will absolutely annihilate them. And Strelok now with an absolutely massive supply advantage. And to be honest, we should see a GG very, very shortly, I would imagine, because those Broodlords are not going to last long against all those Thors. Additional tanks are coming in. The Corrupt is now even getting taken down, and it's really just spamming an awful lot of Zergling Roach out of the Zerg player. But to be honest, the Terran is in such a favourable position right now. I don't see how things go wrong from him. Getting up 2 additional command centres, morphing into orbital commands, another command centre in production. The Zerglings now streaming in from every angle with the best possible attack he could go for. The Infested lobbing out some infested Terrans, and the Zerglings are doing alright, but are they going to be able to have enough damage? The Vikings are landing, and it would appear like the answer will be no. However, can the reinforcements of Roaches be any help? Possibly. The reinforcements for the Terran player are on their way over, though, purely pumping out a lot of siege tanks at the moment. If those tanks get in a good position, the Roaches will not be in a great spot. They need to siege up, and that is exactly what we're seeing happen here. And, well, Strelok, once he takes out this 3rd base, it's pretty much going to be GG, because he's double expanded down here. He's, what, up to 5 bases now? Absolutely insane. No, 6 bases, sorry. Absolutely insane. And I just don't see any way the MiNiMaTh will be able to deal with this. He's even taking his 7th base, just expanding everywhere. His money's still low, and while we are seeing a couple of Thors go down, there's just too much from the Terran, and the GG comes out from MiNiMaTh. So guys, if you did enjoy the cast, please like the video, leave a cool comment, follow me on Twitter, and of course subscribe, because I get new games up every single day of the week. And should you want any more StarCraft, flick over to my channel. There's hundreds of games up. But most importantly, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow for yet another new game. Bye for now.